I guess I'd like to be more proactive in my life, see what possibilities are out there, perhaps forge a new identity, a new way of being, a new work mode, instead of just being a participant of this, watching life unfold around me, accepting it as it comes. Perhaps step out and watch myself and be more objective in this world and less subjective. I'm Steve Maber. I'm a projectionist at the Star Community Centre in Eagle Hawk, suburb of Bendigo. I'm not your classic projectionist, but I know I do it. I know I do it pretty well when I do it, but it's the film itself I love, not the actuography. So I wouldn't be someone that would go out and contemplate slashing the wrist when it changes fully to thing. That wouldn't be my thing at all. If you're fully immersed in a really good film, it's almost like nothing else exists. It's you've entered into that film, and it's a wonderful process and experience. I don't feel alone when I'm projecting. There's an aloneness that's there as opposed to a loneliness. There's a self-containment, certainly isolation. I think we need reminders of the past, whether it's whatever those reminders might be. But yeah, I think it would be wonderful still to have places that you can go to see film projection at work. It's a living part of the history, and without it there would be no film, and I think it needs to be there as a constant reminder of where we've been and where we're going. Well, I first met her across a crowded hotel at a band. I still remember her. She just hit me like a freight train. There's always, I think, one person in your life that you're going to see that's just going to bowl you over, and it was her. I said to her, I was with a friend, we'd had a few drinks, and I said, this person, just look. I looked back and there was no one there, they were gone. She had disappeared. A few years went by. I was at uni in 1989, early 89. My ex-partner, the mother of my son Nathan, and her friend Don, who was also a friend of mine, got together and thought we'd make they knew someone. I was apprehensive, but I said, okay, I'd never been on a blind date before. They picked me up on one Sunday afternoon. I walked outside and got in the car. As I was sat in the back seat, I looked over and I said, it's you. You're Lizzie Wilson. I remembered her name, and I said, you're the person I saw all those years ago. And she said she had no idea what I was talking about, obviously. And talking about aloneness as a role of a projectionist for a fair amount of the time, apart from interaction with people that come to watch the films. There is a tinge of loneliness in it as well. I think that's been brought home by some deaths around in the last few years. Two very close friends have passed away with cancer. My ex-wife, with her death, opened up like a whole lot of pain inside, like a jack in a box opening up. That's something that had been pushed and the lid shut down, pain and stuff from many years ago, and it all opened up with her death, and that's got a lot of association with photographs, coming in contact with photographs again from the past, and at her funeral being asked to collate a slideshow screening of her life and partly ours. And those photographs were very powerful on the screen. Unfortunately, I was asked to get up and speak. They put them on in the wrong sequence. They were put on just before I was to get up and give part of the eulogy. So when I got up on the screen, I was probably in no real fit state to be up in front of people. The last haunting image was her in a wedding dress, a black wedding dress, and she seemed to be staring right at me. And for 10 minutes, that image held up pride and place on the screen. It'll probably never leave me, that image, and that's also the power of something projected onto the screen. She seemed very alive and very immediate. I just wanted to hide, perhaps Let's go back to the role of the projectionist behind the scenes, someone who's not seen. I can have dialogue with photos sometimes, especially with Elizabeth, and I sometimes want to ask why. Lots of questions to her, and it's a dialogue I create myself, a narrative that I can recreate. The role of projectionist can have very strange hours, lots of late nights, and I probably have let go of some really close relationships to a certain extent, and that feels hard to get back. Your hours, yeah, it's not good with social life. It's maybe brought home to bear with loss and some grief associated with those things.